I'd been chasing stories my whole life, but none had ever called to me the way Deadwood Hollow did. From the moment my tires crunched the gravel on the winding road leading into town, I felt watched. Pine trees lined the roadside like silent sentinels, their shadows stretching long and skeletal in the dying light. I'm Maya, true crime podcaster, occasional YouTuber, always hunting for the next story no one else dared touch. Locals on forums whispered about Deadwood Hollow, a place cursed since the 1800s. A place where people vanished into the woods and came back changed, or never came back at all. I should have turned around the moment the town sign appeared. Welcome to Deadwood Hollow. The paint faded, streaked like old blood, but instead, I drove in. Storefronts sagged under peeling paint. Windows were clouded, as though the glass itself refused to see what lingered outside. People moved like ghosts, heads down, eyes flicking to me and then away. Even breathing felt heavier here, like the air clung to my skin, thick and damp. I'd come for content. Instead, I stepped into a nightmare. The Hollow Pines Inn looked like it had been built during the Civil War, and probably hadn't seen a coat of paint since. My room smelled of mildew and wood rot. I couldn't sleep, not with the wind wailing outside like it was alive. Around midnight, I noticed a warped floorboard beneath the desk. When I pried it up, my fingers closed around cracked leather. An old journal. The first page was dated 1873, signed Silas Crane. He wrote of discovering a wooden idol buried in the woods beneath the roots of a massive pine. After that, people began to vanish. Children grew sick. Animals tore each other apart in the streets. Neighbors heard whispers calling their names. He wrote of seeing something watching him between the trees, a towering figure whose eyes glowed like embers. The last entry stopped mid-sentence. The watcher comes tonight. I hear it scratching at my door. The rest of the page was ripped away. Next day, I tried interviewing people in town. Some slammed doors in my face. Others whispered prayers under their breath. Finally, I found an old woman sitting outside the general store, rocking slowly in a creaking chair. Her name was Edith. Her eyes were pale blue, sharp despite the deep lines on her face. She didn't smile when I introduced myself. "You shouldn't be here," she rasped. "Deadwood Hollow ain't right. Never has been. It's a place that should never have been built." She told me people had always gone missing in the woods. The ones who returned weren't themselves. They stood too still, smiled at nothing, sometimes spoke in voices that weren't theirs. "The watcher's always hungry," she said, voice trembling. "It needs a voice, someone to call others in." Her hand shot out, gripping my wrist with surprising strength. If it knows your name, child, you're already half gone."
You're already half.
I couldn't help myself. As dusk fell, I followed a deer trail into the forest. The deeper I went, the quieter the world became. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Weird wooden symbols hung from branches, crooked figures woven from twigs and string. Some looked vaguely human, others like twisted runes. Then I heard it, a soft voice. Maya, my name, floating on the breeze like a lover's whisper. I spun around, flashlight beam slicing through mist. Something tall and dark slipped behind a tree, too fast for me to catch more than a shape. My skin prickled with goosebumps. Maya, help me. The voice was close, almost familiar. I stumbled into a clearing. At its center stood a pine tree so wide it would have taken 3 people to encircle it. Its roots twisted like serpents over a sunken hollow. Curiosity pulled me closer. Beneath the roots lay a crude altar of stone and bone. At its center sat a wooden idol. It was carved into a humanoid figure, arms raised as if in silent plea. Its face was angular, alien, and even though I tried not to believe it, I swear its expression shifted every time I looked away. Suddenly, a wave of images crashed over me. Blood-soaked rituals, screaming townsfolk bound to trees, a figure of bark and shadows stepping from the darkness, its eyes molten gold, devouring souls. I fell to my knees, retching. I ran, but the forest twisted itself around me. No matter which way I turned, the trees closed in. Then, silence. I looked up and froze. Emerging from the shadows was a towering creature of bark and tangled branches. Its body creaked like old timber. Its face shifted between a wooden mask and the tortured features of Silas Crane. Its eyes blazed like molten gold. "Help me," it rasped in Silas's voice. "They trapped me here. They fed me souls so they could prosper. Now the town rots, and I remain bound." Its voice grew deeper, more monstrous. "Free me, or become my voice." 1,000 whispers rose around me, echoing my name. Maya, Maya. My knees buckled under the weight of its presence. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. I realized then that Deadwood Hollow had never been cursed. It had been built as an offering. I crawled back to the idol, pulled my lighter from my pocket, and set the thing ablaze. Flames roared, sending sparks high into the pines. A howl shook the forest. Branches split like dry bones. When the flames died, the watcher was gone. I staggered into town at dawn and nearly collapsed. Deadwood Hollow was deserted. Storefronts crumbled to dust under my fingers. An old pickup truck sat rusting, half sunk into the street, as if it had been there for decades. Everything smelled of mold and old earth. I recorded one last podcast episode, voice shaking. If anyone hears this, stay away from Deadwood Hollow. The Watcher is real, and it knows my name. I finished speaking and paused. From the static came my own voice whispering back at me. Maya,
Come home.
and I realized the forest had followed me back. Thanks for joining me in the dark tonight. Got your own chilling story, or a place you want me to explore? Tell me in the comments. Like, subscribe, and keep your lights low, because the dark is always listening.